As a longtime admirer of Nicolas Cage and his unparalleled talent for embracing outlandish concepts with unbridled passion, I must say that delving into his action-packed oeuvre is an exhilarating journey. From the dizzying heights of Swapping Faces and Face Off to the thrilling skies of Con Air, it's clear that Cage's 1996 was a veritable treasure trove for action enthusiasts like myself. Nicolas Cage has had one of the most varied careers in Hollywood, but it's in the action movie genre that he's had some of his most acclaimed and memorable roles. With 3 iconic releases in 1996 alone, including The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off, Cage has made a name for himself as a nonstop worker who's always willing to embrace even the most outlandish of movie premises. From blockbuster smashes to later lesser-known straight-to-video releases, Cage has become a touchstone in modern popular culture and has achieved cult status among action movie lovers. Nicolas Cage has had some uncontested action film masterpieces in his repertoire, but there have also been some disappointingly low points throughout his extensive and sometimes overblown filmography. Regardless, whether he's playing a vengeful father, an individual escaping from hell, or a future-predicting action hero, Cage has always given his all to every role, infusing them with distinctive flair and quirks. With a body of work that encompasses truly dreadful movies, campy cult favorites, and cherished classics, Cage's action movie career has played a significant tool in shaping the actor's peculiar and mysterious legacy. And it's hard to comprehend why Nicolas Cage chose to revisit his character from the 1993 bomb, the critically panned and commercially flopped movie Deadfall, for another film that teetered on the edge of being offensive in its monotony. In Arsenal, Cage took on the role of the seedy mobster Eddie King, a character decked out in wigs, mustaches, and prosthetic noses, whose over-the-top persona was a bit too obvious, even for fans of Cage's distinctive acting style. Arsenal was a forgettable action movie about crime bosses during the kidnappings that should have been given a wide berth. There was not to see them at the opposite of any other sea. Perhaps. And 211 can be described as another run-of-the-mill Nicolas Cage action flick, similar in forgetfulness to many others in his filmography. This film focuses on a police officer and a teenager trapped in a bank amidst a chaotic gun battle inspired by the real events of the 1997 North Hollywood shootout. Unfortunately, 211 is a hodgepodge of action movie, cliches held together by an unimaginative storyline, making it one of the least remarkable entries in Cage's long list of direct-to-video releases. Essentially, 211 was a generic bank heist, the symbol movie sorely lacking the distinctive charm and creativity that made Nicolas Cage's best action films stand out. And sadly, the film Rage failed to embody the over-the-top, entertainingly bad quality that Nicolas Cage's action films are known for. Instead, it presented itself as an unremarkable tale of kidnapping. In the movie, Cage portrays a reformed criminal who, due to his kidnapped daughter, is forced to reunite with his old gang and revert to his previous ways. And this film, however, falls short compared to the numerous imitations of the Taken series that are already out there. All those stories filled with intense violence and pure vengeance. Started successful franchises in the past, this one just feels like a tired repetition of action movie tropes. In the multinational production titled Outcast, Nicolas Cage teamed up with Hayden Christensen. This film, a universally scorned action movie set during the Crusades, was met with harsh criticism. Critics such as Glenn Kenny from RogerEbert.com correctly pointed out that this marked a shift for Cage from his amusingly peculiar phase to his perplexing and possibly tragic phase. Due to its lack of appeal and having garnered a dismal 4% rating among critics on Rotten Tomatoes, it was primarily enjoyed by ardent fans of Nicolas Cage. In the film Grand Isle, Nicolas Cage portrayed a troubled Vietnam War veteran with a penchant for heavy drinking, struggling to come to terms with his past. The movie followed a young man's quest to clear his name after being accused of murdering Cage's wife. With its somber atmosphere and intriguing, if flawed, characters, Grand Isle showcased some of Cage's distinctive acting abilities as he delved into the depths of a complex character. Despite the movie's intrigue, a subpar script and structural issues prevent it from reaching its full potential as a compelling neo-noir tale, making it worth watching for casual Nicolas Cage fans, but falling short of greatness. And Primal embodied an outrageous plotline that you'd expect in a high-octane Nicolas Cage action flick, yet it didn't quite reach that level of greatness, and instead became more a fun but somewhat indulgent addition to Cage's filmography, starring as Frank Walsh, a seasoned big game hunter who captures a massive 400-pound white jaguar. Chaos ensues with fierce creature is transported with the deadly assassin, who sets it free. Much like its titular animal, Primal was raw and unpredictable, but it didn't quite capture the B-movie charm and intensity that defines Cage's top action performances. Rob, in Vengeance, a love story based on Joyce Carol Oates' novel, a police officer delves into the investigation of a single mother who was raped and later finds himself overtaking justice into his own hands when the perpetrators were found not guilty in court. The film, while following a predictable revenge plotline, was remarkably saved by the outstanding portrayal of Talitha Bateman as the daughter, making it more than just the sum of its parts. Unfortunately, Nicolas Cage's performance fell short, and he seemed to struggle in the movie's slower tempo, resulting in one of his less impactful performances. The movie titled Bangkok Dangerous was a reinterpretation of the 1999 Thai film by the Pang brothers, with Nicolas Cage playing a ruthless contract killer who had to break his personal code for the sake of those he cared about. Although it might not have a deeply intricate plot, it certainly provided an enjoyable action-packed experience for viewers and showcased a long-haired Cage blazing through Bangkok. Interestingly enough, Cage was also one of the producers for this American adaptation. It successfully balanced entertainment with a touch of absurdity. As a dedicated movie enthusiast, I found Dog Eat Dog an entertaining watch, primarily due to the electrifying presence of two cinematic heavyweights, Nicolas Cage and Willem Dafoe, gracing the same screen. Hailing from the esteemed director, Paul Schrader, whose work on classics like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull is legendary, Dog Eat Dog may not quite reach those heights, but it certainly holds its own as a gripping tale of three former convicts who kidnap a maybe for ransom. While it might not be Schrader's finest, our film remained engaging and cleverly humorous, thanks to a talented cast and crew. The chemistry between the actors, the absurd storyline, and the witty humor made Dog Eat Dog a delightful watch. In the timeless tradition of storytelling, a reformed burglar finds himself with just 12 hours to recover $10 million to rescue his child from peril. In the movie Stolen, despite its disappointing performance at the box office upon release, revisiting Stolen today reveals a pulse-pounding thriller that maintains its intensity throughout, following the classic formula of a race against time. While the film may not delve into profound themes, it skillfully combines all its elements seamlessly, and Nicolas Cage delivers an exceptional performance, as one might expect from him, even for a script that many actors would have treated casually. And the exploitation action horror movie Drive Angry ticked all the right boxes for an outrageous Nicolas Cage film. As John Milton, Cage stole Satan's personal shotgun and escape towel to save his granddaughter from the man who killed his daughter in an over-the-top exercise in total excess. Cage was perfectly cast as the vengeful man who had the birds there, because that was perfect, that Numbers had at home mean that in 2006 we saw All in Line, like murder continually was unbearable. And in A Score to Settle, Nicolas Cage portrayed Frank, a mobster who accepted a 6-year prison term for a crime he didn't commit in exchange for the protection of this son during his imprisonment. Unfortunately, his sentence was extended to life, and Frank was eventually released due to health concerns. He found himself with unfinished business against those who had broken their word regarding his son's safety. Overall, this film provided an enjoyable experience, with Cage's performance turning what could have been a mediocre movie into delightful beam-the-action entertainment. Following the story penned by Philip K. Dick, I found myself immersed in the thrilling world of Next, a film that featured Nicolas Cage as a man endowed with the ability to glimpse the future.
Surrounded by an impressive ensemble, including Julianne Moore and Jessica Biel, this action-packed movie was a roller coaster ride of suspense, sprinkled with intriguing science fiction elements.
It's undeniable that the film Firebirds bore a striking resemblance to Top Gun, with Nicolas Cage taking over the role of Tom Cruise as the naval aviator Maverick is now transformed into helicopter pilot Jake Preston. The movie offered stunning visuals, a romantic angle, and a dynamic mentor-mentee relationship between Cage and Tommy Lee Jones. While it felt many of the same plot points as Top Gun, its performance at the box office was less than stellar. Reflecting on it now, the stunts and visual effects were impressive. The air dolls looked spectacular, and even though the dialogue may have been cheesy, we're fortunate to have a Cage action movie set in the skies as part of our cinematic history. 1990s action comedy Amos and Andrew is a buddy movie that subtly delves into racial themes, featuring Samuel L. Jackson as a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright and Nicholas as a petty Rocky thief falsely accused by police. A series of misunderstandings ensues when Jackson's white neighbors mistake him for a burglar and shoot at his home, leading them to hire to stage a kidnapping.
As a comical yet insightful portrayal of race, class, and racial profiling, Amos and Andrew is both amusing, intellectually stimulating, offering on prejudice, and the formation of friendships in unexpected places. At work, news, calls, offering.
In a reboot of the 1974 film, a movie Gone in 60 Seconds, featured Nicolas Cage playing an ex-car thief lured back into the game to steal 50 cars within a single night to save his brother's life. With its captivating plot promising high-octane action and thrilling car chases, Cage, Angelina Jolie, and Robert Duvall amped up their performances for this wild heist escapade. Despite receiving negative reviews from critics, the film grossed over $237 million at the box office, according to Box Office Mojo, indicating that viewers were eagerly hopping aboard for the ride. In the unbearable weight of massive talent, Nicolas Cage delightfully immersed himself into the meme-worthy persona he's known for, starring as a troubled Hollywood character as a fictionalized representation of himself. The movie, a satirical action flick, placed Cage in a predicament where he was pursued by both a dangerous fanatic admirer and the FBI trying to apprehend him. This fantastical, high-octane escapade showcased Cage navigating between these two adversaries. The unbearable weight of massive talent was a delightful spectacle for fans of Cage and boasted remarkable camaraderie between him and his co-star Pedro Pascal. And 1996 marked a significant turning point for Nicolas Cage as he solidified his status as an action hero by starring in 3 memorable films and never looked more captivating than as the haired convict Cameron Poe in Con Air. In this movie, Poe finds himself entangled within a plane hijacked by criminals, working alongside authorities to seize control of the flight and secure his parole. With its striking visual aesthetic, sharp humor, and outrageously entertaining plot, Con Air epitomized the essence of Nicolas Cage's action-packed films during the 1990s. In Michael Bay's renowned action thriller, The Rock, actors Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, and Ed Harris found themselves entangled in a plot where an FBI chemist and ex-British Army captain team up to infiltrate Alcatraz Island. There, they confront a band of renegade Marines who have seized control of the tourist population as hostages. This movie, brimming with Bay's signature flair, is often considered his most impressive directorial work. With its gripping pace, spot-on casting, and a narrative that may have unwittingly influenced misconceptions about Iraqi chemical weapons, as reported by The Guardian. Rock remains one of Nicolas Cage's most memorable films. Nicolas Cage has made a career for himself by fully embracing truly outrageous concepts and giving his all the merit is that must be seen to be believed. This was certainly the case for Face Off, Cage's very best action movie, which saw Cage swapping faces with John Travolta as he played both the hero and the villain in an intense game of cat and mouse. With two massive movie stars at the helm, a mind-bogglingly bizarre concept, and an incredible direction from John Woo, Face Off was truly peak Nicolas Cage and one of the best action movies ever made.